Hello there, and welcome to Fixing the Sequel Trilogy. Usually a Writer's Room podcast, but today a reaction and review podcast for episode 4 of Ahsoka. Oh my goodness, Mello.
Yeah, man.
What a barn burner of an episode. How good was it?
I loved it.
We're going to go through, talk about the episode beat for beat. Spoiler warning for episode 4, obviously. Where to start? I guess at the start. What was the what was the opening?
Okay, they picked up basically exactly what they thought we would. It was this shot of like from the rear cabin looking into the cockpit of Ahsoka's ship.
The B-Wing?
Yep.
They don't have a cool name for it,
T-16.
Oh, T-16, right. Yeah. They don't have a cool name for it, though. It's not like the Ghost or...
Oh, no, yeah.
They got to get a cool name for that ship.
Anyway, yeah, no, so Sabine's walking in there. They're trying to... And Hugh Young's doing...
he's fixing this.
Yeah,
he's fixing the transmission, the transmitter, so that they can talk to Hera Syndulla because they're trapped on Cetos. I've got it this week, is the name of the planet. Anyways, so... It's exactly as we predicted last week. It would kind of pick up exactly here what Act 3 of that episode should have been, because it was very short. We got like the first 2 acts, a really great action scene, but we didn't get the end of the story. But it kind of makes sense because they had a lot they wanted to dive into with this episode. So as much as it wasn't perfect last week, we really enjoyed the episode. We can see why it was as short as it was because it was kind of like part 2 of that episode.
Yeah, and it's like, week. As much as like I feel like I got robbed of maybe 10 minutes worth of content last week, it's like, this week was so good.
Oh my God, this week was so good.
Okay, right from the get-go, just like broad strokes purposes before we keep going with plot stuff, I will say it's like, I said this off camera, I think like yesterday, that I think that a problem with, these Disney Plus shows in general, and one that I could kind of see Ahsoka already starting to have, is that they don't do episodic stuff all that well. They don't have, every episode as its own short film, which is basically what it should be. It should have beginning, middle, end.
It's how they tell us to write TV at uni. It's like if you're writing TV, it's like condense the 3-act structure into each episode and have it be its own self-contained story within the overall story of 12 or 10 episodes, however long the season is.
That individual episode has morals, themes, message.
An arc that goes from one side to the other, and it's all tied around the map in this episode.
Yeah,
episode
I could
3
really...
didn't have that, but episode 4 absolutely does.
I could really see it. This episode. Okay, so they then, they do fall under attack from the droids that got sent out to them.
Yeah, and it's radical. It's so cool.
Because Hugh Young gets to fight.
So we get to see him in an action scene. That was really cool. We've been, kind of teasing up to it. He's been doing the lightsaber training with Sabine, and actually see him in action here. My first reaction was like, kick his ass, Hugh Yang. Fuck yeah.
It's so good. They're beating up droids. And then
Ahsoka has this really cool moment where she instinctively knows, like, because Hu Yang takes out the lights in the ship. He's like trying to call for help. He takes out the lights.
Yep.
And Ahsoka's like, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And instantly puts out the lightsabers, like, yes, let's go. It's like good. It's so much like pumped up,
Yep. There is a bit of build up. I think before they even get off the ship is like Ahsoka and Sabine are talking, and it's like it seems a little generic at first, but then when you get later in the episode, you can understand the setup for the payoff. It's like can I trust you? You know you can.
I actually didn't super love that dialogue interaction. No, it was a little bit, I guess, I don't know,
a bit stinted.
A bit stinted. Yeah, it was like just kind of choppy and weird, and it's like, this isn't really how people talk. No. And I'm not really buying that these characters talk like this either. But from the rest of the episode from there, it takes a massive upswing in terms of dialogue.
Yeah, and we'll get to that.
Yeah. So they run outside. Ahsoka's lightsaber's out. Sabine is going blasters and Mando armor for this one. Yeah. And it's fantastic. We just get this really quick, really intense action scene. And they just take out all these droids like it's nothing. It's fantastic.
And they're in this like sort of, this forest that's like, it's really dark.
Reminiscent of like Force Awakens, because it's got like the snow on the ground. It's these red trees and it's really dark and murky.
It's continuing that same trend of like, what did the sequels do? Let's do similar.
Let's do that, but better.
Good use of the volume.
Really great use of the volume. So we've noticed a lot in some of these other shows, they haven't been able to live up to the precedent the Mandalorian Season 1 set with how they use the volume.
Yeah, it's how you light it. It's how you use focus. It's how you incorporate your actual real sets.
Where you block the actors as well.
Literally.
And how close they are to it and how far away they are to it. And in this episode, there was like some moments where I'm like, oh, this is kind of like foggy behind them. It kind of looks like the volume. But then for the rest of it, it's like, no, this is really great. This is really selling you on the scene.
Yeah. Having worked with a smaller version of that screen myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Focus. What is in and out of focus really, really helps.
So they have a small version of the volume at the university that you're you're still enrolled at.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Griffith University, they have a small version. We're allowed to talk about that, I think.
Yeah, we can. That's fine.
And they've got like a small like rectangle version of what the volume is. And the volume, obviously, that they use in the studios is big, like, wrap-around screen.
Fucking ceiling.
It goes on the ceiling, goes all the way around the room. So, and the one that we've got at Griffith, you said cost like millions of dollars anyway.
I think it's like $2 million just for a 3x6 meter one.
Yeah. So,
yeah, they did well. So Yes. So Sabine and Ahsoka go running off into the forest.
And Hu Yang gives them a little note of like, just stay together.
Yep.
Like, you're always better when you do that. And I was like, oh, so sweet.
It's lovely.
I love Hu Yang so much.
It's not going to happen.
Absolutely not. Not a chance. And we see that immediately. But they run into the forest. They encounter Marok and Shin waiting for them.
Yep.
And we get a couple more shots intercut with this of Balin Skull and like Morgan Elsbeth. Got it?
Elsbeth. Yeah.
And they're standing looking out into the distance again. They've been doing it for 3 episodes.
No,
now.
I know. Yeah, you made a note when we were watching. It's like, what are they looking at? And then we cut back to Hera.
And then, we got a Hera on Home 1.
Yeah, Hera on Home 1. They get in the ghost back in live action.
The ghost from Rebels, if anyone hasn't seen Rebels. Awesome. I popped for this because I'd seen like a little bit of Rebels.
So Hera and fucking what's the kid's name? Jason and Chopper. They all jump in and they get
this tiny but perfect dialogue exchange between her and like some kind of admiral or like subordinate. And he's like, what am I supposed to tell? Like, we're about to have a meeting. And she's like, I don't know, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the Hera I remember from Rebels.
Yeah,
she's really coming full, like, really, really showing, like, her character off in these past 2 episodes.
Yeah. Jason's really like, Mom, why can you break the rules? When you're a general, son, you can break the fucking rules.
And then it's hype as fuck. We get them flying out into space. You get a bunch of X-Wings. You get the guy from Mando Season 2. I can't remember his name. He's very cool.
He's the voice of no, not the voice. He's Uncle Iroh in the upcoming live action.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. Yeah.
Airbender.
So yeah, very cool to see him return in this show out of nowhere, but it makes perfect sense that he'd be there. So he's an X-Wing pilot. He's in Mando Season 2, and I think he's not Book of Boba Fett. He's in Mando Season 3. He's got like his own episode and stuff. Yeah.
So they jump. And then
it's absolutely like just the level of hype I experienced when they were like signing off, like following you like Phoenix leader. I was like, shit, this is getting really good. So they leave and then we get back to the forest.
Yes. Oh yeah. And also there's another point at which like they cut to a different shot of Morgan and Balin just looking out again.
And then you laugh at me because it finally cuts to the other direction and you look up and you see the massive hyperdrive ring. Yeah. Is it in orbit? Is it in the planet's atmosphere?
It's up there.
It doesn't matter.
They're just looking up at it.
Doesn't matter. It looks cool. That's all that's important.
Quick side thing. Morgan Elsbeth is almost just a normal name.
It is.
You know?
It's so close to being... It almost reminds me of like a fantasy name you might see in like a D&D campaign. Yeah. Specifically set in like ye old England. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's you go adjust things. It's like, Luke Stonesmith instead of Luke Skywalker. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's like how much... Well, the knife's edge between fantasy and Star Wars, you know? Anyway, so you get that shot and it was like, okay, that's what they're looking at. It's still weird that they're just standing there looking off into the distance at the hyperdrive ring with like what seems to be like stoic contemplation. It's like, okay.
He does it very well.
He does it fantastically.
Yeah. Okay, so they're fighting in the forest.
And this fight rules as well. This is our first lightsaber on lightsaber kind of fight that we get in this episode. And it's so good. And we got it teased in the Ahsoka fight with her and Marok in the hyperdrive building area in Corellia. That was really good. And I was like, I want more. Yeah. And we get so much more here.
And we had this one with, Sabine and Shin in episode 1.
Yeah.
But it's like, it didn't end all that
It didn't end super
well.
well.
Scrappy.
And it's so clear. Like, Sabine has been continuing to bring the heat. The actress, I can't remember her name, but the actress playing Sabine is just nailing this character. And then Shin, her actress as well. Like, you can feel the hatred between the two of them. It's such, like, the young rivals. They're really bringing that kind of, that part of the story to it. Really bringing the heat.
Yeah. Okay, so Ahsoka fights Marok. And just
fucking
murks him.
Yeah. And he's doing the spinny thing, and she just like slides right forward and like this wicked samurai move, and he explodes into Night Sister Mist kind of stuff.
Into like the green nothingness.
Very similar, like you said, to Savage Opress from Clone Wars, and that's how he died as well. Because he's kind of he's funneling Night Sister magic through him to use the Force.
Yeah, well, he was like, just like this scrawny like Zabrak guy before they like imbued all of their evil and magic into him, and that just meant he got jacked.
Yeah. So from what we can read into it, very similar story for Marok. He would have been some guy, maybe a Zabrak, or maybe what's Darth Maul? I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, they're the same.
Oh, same species. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're like a different form. Zabrak are just the species, I think, with the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been a similar story there. He gets imbued with magic, and then Ahsoka kills him.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of theorizing about who he could be in the Reddit, and every time I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. And then just fucking gets killed.
And he gets killed.
Yeah.
Which I think is perfect. You want that kind of disposable character so you can have these fantastic action scenes, and it's not going to have huge ramifications on the story.
Yep.
It's a cool character concept.
Yep.
He looks cool, he fights cool, and then he dies cool.
There was a little bit where I was like, okay, at some point we'll probably see this character, they'll make this character something, and it's just like, no. This is just the last Inquisitor, and as all of the Inquisitors before him, died like a fucking bitch.
Yeah, perfect.
That such is their lot in life.
No, it's good. I like it. I thought it was a really fun action scene, and you feel like Marok's intimidating, but you also feel like Ahsoka is well worth his match, and she proves it. Then Shin and Sabine are fighting, and that is really, really good. The choreography here in the lightsaber fights, I was very impressed with.
Very good. Sabine's actually like holding her own. It's good, and then boom, smoke bomb.
Oh, but just before that, she tries to use the Force on Shin.
Yeah.
And Shin's like, you have no power. And then Sabine just blasts her in the face with her wrist rockets. So continuing to follow this trend of Sabine not having any mastery of the Force whatsoever. No. And I think that's a really good. And I think if by the end of this season, she maybe uses the Force once in some kind of pivotal moment, that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Anything before that, it would kind of take away from this whole story we've been building about how she is not one with the Force at all.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, where is it leading to me? Because it's like, it's clearly she's not going to become powerful in the Force. I don't think that that's the goal. And if that is the goal, that feels a little misguided. I wouldn't want it to end with her being like, yeah, now she's a terrific Force user.
Yeah.
I think it's just about trust and opening herself up to Ahsoka, I think, more at the very least.
Yeah. I think it's more of a character focused story than it is about like a journey to high power levels that you see with like someone like Luke Skywalker or even Ezra.
Yeah.
So watching her in this journey, it is about her opening herself up to Ahsoka and willing to be an apprentice to Ahsoka, who's the master.
Yeah.
And getting closer to her and learning more about herself as well. Like being less stubborn and being less aggressive, I guess.
Yeah. So before we go much further, there is a ticking bomb in this episode. There is a time pressure thing. So they put the map back on the little like pyre that it's pyre?
Something.
That thing.
A plinth.
Plinth? Yeah, there we go. Okay. They put the thing on the plinth.
They put the cool Treasure Planet map on the plinth, and it's got Night System magic.
Yeah, and it's like up in the ship, because the ship's now completed, up in the hyperdrive ring. They are
transmitting the coordinates for the distant galaxy to the ship, and it's you see the ticking clock of it filling up and like, oh, it's nearly done.
That's good.
And Ahsoka at this moment, she has split off from Sabine. Sabine's fighting Shin in the forest, and she's like, go get the map.
Shouldn't have split up.
They shouldn't have split up, obviously, because we see the consequences later.
Yeah.
Ahsoka runs in and has just a wicked standoff with Baylan Skoll, and we finally see what we've been building to for 4 episodes.
Yeah, or Morgan Elsbeth, takes off up to the ship
and says,
she's like,
take care of the map.
Protect the map. And it's like, it implies it's like, oh, once the map is finished being uploaded, she's just going to leave.
That was the implication.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, but
it was interesting.
So the idea of her leaving him to protect the map while she goes to the ship, instead of just staying there to also protect the map, she could have, it's fine.
Yeah. No, I think it's like, she's literally just being selfish, just protecting herself, because it's like, let's say that she does trust that he can get it taken care of, but it's like, oh, the Jedi are here now. Ah, well, see ya. She's not going to go back down there herself, or not going to stay there herself to get arrested or killed.
You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah.
That actually, I was like, that's kind of a plot hole. That's a weird thing. It actually kind of makes sense, because if Baylan had died and failed, then she would have just left, I suppose. She would just run away.
It's all that scheming. So yes, we get the showdown between Ahsoka
and then we get the showdown. And they're standing off, surrounded by this Night System map that's glowing all around them, and there's all these rocks and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, this is fantastic. And he have this moment where Baylan gives this dialogue about Anakin and how everyone in the Order knew Anakin but no one knew what he would later become.
Yeah,
dude, this rocks. It's really so cool.
And then there's a bit in when they do start to fight, and there's a bit in when they fight where it's like, your master's legacy is like violence and destruction, and so is yours, or something.
It's good and it's true,
Yeah. But yeah, no, like before they even really fight, they have just this really good tension building standoff where it's like, he's in knight stance, she's in samurai stance. We also get to see Ahsoka fight with backwards grip, like she always did.
I know you popped for that. You were very excited.
That was great. But yeah, lots of tension.
And we get more moments like that. We get like a consistent, like they'll fight, they'll break, they'll speak, they'll break, and it's just those perfect fight scene moments that you remember from the prequels and how they battle and talk, and it really feels well paced.
Now, did you pick up on the darker elements of Ahsoka in this fight?
Mm-hmm.
Previously, in the fight that she'd had with Marek, as a Jedi does, she waits for him to strike first.
Yeah.
He strikes first. He suffers the consequences. Eventually, he loses.
Yeah.
She strikes first against Baylan.
She does. Yeah. And then she ultimately loses this fight. No, that's a really interesting point, because we also see when Shin runs out of the forest halfway through this fight, Ahsoka has grabbed the map. It's burned her hand. She's now weakened. It seemed like she was force weakened by this. Almost, which is really interesting. And then Shin runs out, and Ahsoka assumes that she's killed Sabine.
Yep.
And, like, delves into the dark side a bit, grabs Shin, throws her against a wall in this moment of kind of rage.
Yeah, like, knocks her out. And and that pisses off Baylan. We really get to see some emotion out of him.
Absolutely.
He's mad. She's mad. Then Sabine comes out of the forest, grabs the map.
Yes.
Holds the map hostage.
And now we get to see the true, I guess, emotional crux of this episode is this map and what it represents. It is the possibility of bringing Ezra back, and that means more to Sabine than anything else.
Yeah, but it's like, it's what Ahsoka is concerned about, and I think they talked about this earlier, is like,
there might come a point.
If push comes to shove, it is better that no one should go to that galaxy than, then
they bring back Thrawn.
Yeah, literally.
So if a push comes to shove, we need to stop them bringing back Thrawn, even if it means we never get to see Ezra ever again, even if he is still alive.
Yep.
And you see Sabine like wrestle with that.
Yeah, and there's this fantastic Lord of the Rings moment where Ahsoka's like, destroy it. Destroy the map. I mean the ring. I mean the map.
Yes.
It's so good though.
It is.
Yeah. She doesn't.
And she hesitates, and then she is like, she has a gun up next to it, and she's trying to threaten Baylan. Baylan does not believe her, and he hits Ahsoka, and she falls off the cliff, seemingly to her death. Obviously, she's not going to die, and no one believes that for a moment.
Yeah.
And then it's just Baylan, and it's just Sabine.
Yep.
And it's their like dialogue standoff.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, this is straight up fantastic. And you see Sabine, like, she just goes through every emotion as she's wrestling with this massive decision. She could destroy it and save the galaxy from Thrawn right here.
Yeah. And
she chooses not to, and she gives the map to Baylan.
Yep, and manages to talk her off that cliff, and it...
Yeah. I didn't believe... Okay, so unfortunately, my writer brain was also sitting there ticking. I was like, obviously she's going to give her the map. Otherwise, we wouldn't have 4 more episodes of the show.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they have to go
But
to
her
that
performance
galaxy.
was still so fantastic that I was really, like, enthralled by what was happening in that moment.
Yeah.
And how Baylan was able to convince her and able to pull her away from that edge.
But he's such an interesting character.
Yeah.
Because he has standards. He has some level of morality.
He gives her his word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't trust that. And then a moment later...
though.
And I think this might have been intentional. Shin force chokes her.
Yep.
Force chokes Sabine out of revenge. She hates her.
Yep.
And he commands her to stand off. He's like, no, I've given her my word, and unlike her master, I will stick to it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Shit, no. This guy's a real one. He's a real one.
I know. I want more from him. But yeah, no, he's keeping her alive. They take her into custody, and they go back up to the ship.
Yeah.
By which point, our rebels, the ghost,
they
and the
come out of
X-Wings,
hyperspace. Yeah.
They catch up. They're trying to they fly to block the
giant hyperdrive ring,
the jump path of the hyperdrive ring. We've got all of our villains, and then
Sabine in shackles
are up on the hyperdrive ring. And they take off.
And it's the fucking coolest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing. We see it charge up. And because it's a ring, it's just a big ring, and the other ships are in front of it, they go around it.
Yeah.
They just go around them.
In this fantastic, like, blue particle effect.
It's so fucking cool.
It's amazing.
And then, most of the X-Wings get destroyed because they crash into each other.
I think it takes out 2 X-Wings, and they crash into each other from just being, like, torn off course.
Yeah.
And then the Ghost makes it out, and then 2 of the X-Wings make it out. One of them is a named character.
Yeah, with
the X-Wing guy from Mando season 2.
Yeah. Oh god, it's so cool though.
It was fantastic, and like you and I were just like gobsmacked watching this. Oh my god.
And then we get back to Hu Yang.
Yes. Hu Yang is like outside the ship. He's like trying to radio for Ahsoka and for Sabine, and he can't get anything back, which is just a heartbreaking moment. And then we cut to Ahsoka. It's like this really fantastic transition shot of the ocean where she was pushed off the cliff. I'm getting chills to think about it.
Dude, people are going to make TikToks out of this.
It's so good.
Those transitions.
And it transitions from the crashing waves on the cliffs to this strange kind of glowing shoreline.
Yeah, like water,
and then it's you see Ahsoka, and it's like, okay, Ahsoka's there, and she wakes up, and then instantly you and I clock this. She's in the world between worlds.
Yep. She's on one of the the walkways in the world between worlds.
Yeah. And it looks so cool in live action. It looks incredible. And anyone who's maybe not familiar, it is from Rebels. This whole premise of the world between worlds is from Rebels, and this is what it looks like in the show.
It is basically like... It's funny, because I always said that the day that Star Wars does time travel is the day that Star Wars dies.
Yes, you have said that. And then Rebels did it.
Yeah, I said this like back when I was a kid. And then, like, Rebels came out... That season, Rebels came out when I was still like... I think like 16. And it was just the way that they handled it. I was like, okay, you know what? No, this is okay. There's so much reverence to this, and there's a limit to this, and I kind of love it. And it's also but like it's like this Force realm.
Yeah,
it's this world outside of the world,
outside of time, outside of reality, like the real physical plane, because the Force is so much more than that, and they've that's been established in the original trilogy as well. And
incredible.
for a lot of people, the World Between Worlds it feels believable. It feels justifiable
Within Star Wars,
within this sci-fi magic, fantasy kind of setting. To me, I'm still like apprehensive.
Yeah.
But
I suppose it's easier because it's the Force, it's not technology.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the key difference there.
The thing that for me that holds me back is I've always been less interested in what Star Wars has to say in terms of like the galaxy about magic and about the deeper magical and scientific implications of the world. I much more care about the adventure stories.
Yeah,
the coolest possible adventure stories are the ones that I find in Star Wars often. We have Mandalorian season 1 and 2. We have the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and even some of the sequels.
Yep.
It's just massively cool adventure, and the magic stuff is less interesting to me.
It's funny because it's like in Rebels, I eat that shit up. Yeah. And in Empire and Last Jedi, the conversations about the Force.
It's true.
I eat all of that shit up. Yeah. I love it.
It is really cool. And it adds that kind of foil to what is usually an adventure story. And it introduces these elements of like, maybe there is some deeper wisdom here you can take away from this. Yeah. I've yet to be convinced that Ahsoka has to say anything with that. Yep. And to add anything to that discussion, but we will see. We've got 4 episodes left.
So, they're in the World Between Worlds. And someone is talking to Ahsoka.
I heard, "Hey, Snips," or something. I heard Snips.
I need to rewatch it.
Which is Anakin's nickname for Ahsoka in Clone Wars.
Which is amazing. And we turn around and it's Hayden Christensen, live action is.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd see you so soon, is what he says. And it's just this moment between Anakin and Ahsoka looks so delighted to see him. Yeah. But Anakin, I noticed, there's a bit of a weird face going on. Okay. So they've de-aged him and it doesn't look great.
Yeah. It's the same as what they did in Kenobi again.
Yeah. In Kenobi it looked really good though. Yeah. I don't know what happened here, but it looked kind of reminiscent of Leia in Rogue One right at the end there, where it's like, ugh, what's wrong with your plastic ass face?
He could have just been him.
Yeah, it could have just been him.
No one. I'm not going to give a shit that Hayden Christensen is now 40.
He looks a bit older. He's got like some crow's feet up here,
Yeah, anyway.
He's still a dashing lad.
Yeah. So it's just amazing. That's so cool.
And then they cut there right at the end. And that's the end of the episode.
So it's like...
And what an episode it was. Good Lord.
Yeah. So she's dead?
Nah, she ain't dead. There's no way.
But she's in the World Between Worlds at the moment.
Yes.
Now, not to say that that's death, but it's like, okay, so do you know what happened in Rebels?
I know they went there and something happened. Okay. I've seen clips of it on TikTok.
So they go to there's this ancient Jedi temple on Lothal. Yeah. That the Imperials have found and one of like the Emperor's henchmen has found. Bloody Ezra gets in. Mm-hmm. He finds the portal of the World Between Worlds. He goes into the World Between Worlds. Yeah. And it's there that he
saves Ahsoka, right?
Yeah. The last time we saw Ahsoka was end of season 2.
And it cuts away, Vader. And she's fighting Vader, presumably to die. Yeah. Like she was going to die.
Yeah, we know that Vader walks out of it alive, and that's all we see. Yeah. But yes, he pulls her out of it.
Yeah, and saves her life and brings her to his present because the World Between Worlds exists outside of time. Yeah. So he saves her.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't exactly bring her to his present. He just pulls her out into the World Between Worlds, and then he has to dip because the Emperor within the World Between Worlds basically catches up to them, and he's gonna get them. Right. And they just have to.
Wait, the Emperor Palpatine.
Emperor Palpatine has his own portal to the World Between Worlds that Ezra destroys in season 4.
Well, there you fucking go.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I need to watch Rebels.
Of course he would want that.
Yeah, of course he would.
That is the pinnacle of unlimited power to him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. But yeah, no, they have to go their separate ways. He goes back to his timeline that he came out of.
And we don't know where Ahsoka went.
We don't know.
Presumably to go meet up with her boy Hu Yang.
Yeah, I guess.
Cool ass robot.
But then the next time that we see her is in this sort of like ending montage of Rebels.
Ah, interesting. Very interesting.
So she's not involved in like the last year's worth of conflict.
And then
Rebels.
You see that shot that we get in the live action version.
They recreate
her meeting up with Sabine after she's finished the mural. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of that making more sense to me now. That's really cool.
But yeah, so let's talk where we think things are going to go.
Where things are going to go. Oh, man. So my prediction was to see Thrawn by the end of episode 4. Right, I was wrong with that prediction.
I see. I was just hoping we'd get the jump.
Yes, we did get the jump, and we are correct on our theory that this whole show, this whole story is about going to that other galaxy and exploring that and finding Thrawn and Ezra there and potentially bringing them back or everyone dies. Who knows? Yep. We don't really know where this show's going to end. But we do know that we're going to see Thrawn and we're absolutely going to see Ezra. Yeah, it's going to happen. Whether that happens next episode or the episode after is up for debate.
It would be, I think, kind of a waste to not get there.
Yeah.
You know, like next, or at the very least, explore the next galaxy in a bit in the next episode, and then at the end, our cliffhanger is like a little brief glimpse of one of them.
I think Thrawn appearance by the end of episode 5 is a safe bet. Yeah. I think we see him. It might be like the end of the episode. It's like, oh, they found him. They've gone on this kind of quest to find him, and then they found him.
But it's like, when they get to, I'm expecting big visuals.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever this galaxy is, I think they're going to be like, okay, so what was in our Star Wars galaxy? Some cool things, some very cool things. I think it's just going to be fucking wild. Just absolutely alien and bizarre.
I think it'd be a waste not to do that because it needs to be visually interesting because you can't have it be story interesting because you don't have enough time.
No.
We've had decades to explore the Star Wars galaxy. It's a normal-ish galaxy, but it is the stories and the characters that make it bombastic and interesting. This galaxy needs to be visually interesting, I think. I think you're right there.
I think there's now like a 90% chance that they have the Yuuzhan Vong
in
some form.
So people have been theorizing if it's Yuuzhan Vong or if it's the... there's 2 other alien races that are involved in the EU stuff, and I've seen them all get tossed around on Reddit.
Yep.
People are pretty sure it's not Yuuzhan Vong, which is interesting.
Well, the thing is, like...
Because the symbols in the caves and stuff seem to be similar to stuff that was in... Knights of the Old Republic, which is a different space civilization. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff getting thrown around.
I just thought they could do them because, like, this is a different galaxy. Yeah, that's where they came from. No one ever said that we have to bring them back.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, they're here, they exist.
Be there in that galaxy,
and then we leave. Yeah,
and it's just like nice bit of like I would expect them to do that fan service or something. Anyway,
so this is kind of like a divisive part of the EU and like the extended universe of Star Wars. Is there is these other galaxies, and the Yuuzhan Vong are a race of creatures that want to invade the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah, and that's like. They recontextualize Sidious and the Empire and
Thrawn as well.
Yeah, and the Empire and the Death Stars, right, was all because Sidious knew that an attack from another galaxy was coming, and it's making him basically this evil hero of the galaxy. Like, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah, that's a dumb take. Yeah. We don't vibe with that at all.
That's what they did, and people like that.
People like that. People like, and I think that's in Heir to the Empire. That story
gets that trilogy.
That whole trilogy gets explored there. And it's a trilogy of books. But yeah, so that's there's some stuff going on there. I think I want to talk about just this episode because I'm blown away. I thought it was not only just a really great episode of Star Wars stuff, but a really great episode of TV in general.
The music
really rules.
Kevin Kinno,
we're not sure.
Yeah,
and he's bringing the heat. This music, the score is fantastic.
Yeah, it's also really well directed as well.
This episode was very well directed.
I gotta go double check the director's list. And see if
there's another episode by Filoni, I'm not excited for that one.
I doubt there would be because he's like showrunner, so it's like
yeah, he might do like the finale or something. He's done that before in Mando and stuff.
Is Favreau on this series?
Yeah, he was executive producer.
Right, no, but is he gonna direct an episode?
I don't know. I hope he does because Favreau is fantastic. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the direction. The cinematography continues to be outstanding. The CG and practical mixture is really working. And it just feels like a story worth telling. You know, I never felt that way about Book of Boba Fett.
No.
I got like 1 or 2 episodes in, and I'm like, this is really cool. It's really interesting. You get to episode 4, and you're like, I see the shape of this, and I hate it.
Yeah, no, same deal with Kenobi. I'm like,
same thing there.
This could have not existed, and I would have been better off for it.
That show existed just to have the standoff between him and Darth Vader again.
That's it.
And it was cool, but the rest of the show didn't justify
it's
that
like,
experience.
why is that the best part of this show?
But with Ahsoka already, I feel the show has justified its existence. Yeah. It's justified it being a TV show and it being a story to continue the saga of the Rebels.
And what's really interesting again is the fact that it's like we're going to see a complete arc and a completed story this season because there was no season 2 planned. There is still no season 2 planned. They're still waiting, and with the Strux and stuff, it's like it's very likely it never happens.
Yeah.
So this is it.
It could be the death of Ahsoka at the end of the show.
It could be.
It very well could be. Yeah. And then Sabine kind of just goes off to do her own thing.
Yeah. Do a Sabine show.
I mean, why not? Yeah. I'm enjoying her performance and her character journey in this much.
Yeah, if this is about her, like maturing, then having one where then she is like having to do shit herself. Yeah. It'd be interesting.
But yeah, after the 4 episodes we've got so far, I am 100% bought into the show. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Yep. This episode was a 5 out of 5, like easily. Yeah. And yeah, I'm very excited for next week. Happy to wrap it up there?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Any final thoughts or anything?
Next week can't come soon enough, honestly.
This is the first time I'm like, oh, wow, I need to watch an episode now. Yeah. So we're probably going to rewatch.
I'm going to go rewatch this.
Yeah, absolutely. But until we get the next episode, until next week, this has been Fixing the Sequel Trilogy. You can catch us here every week reviewing this very show and also talking about other stuff. We have another show called Fixing the Sequel Trilogy where we actually dive into the sequel movies and elements within that, and that's our main show. So if you want to jump over and check that out as well, feel free. We'd very much appreciate it. But until then, this has been Fixing the Sequel Trilogy, and may the Force be with you.